Yo, yo, yo. What's good? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. Welcome you to Post-Fight Show with Stormybman for this Saturday, September 20th, 2025. This is the post-fight show for Collazo versus Vayson and Fundora versus Kubicki. The fight just wrapped up a few moments ago where we saw Oscar Collazo take a TKO victory in the 7th round as the corner of Vayson decided to stop the fight as their fighter was beginning to take some punches, but it didn't look too debilitating, but it looked like they weren't ready to allow him to go out on his shield or even go down for the count. A very premature situation as he had been knocked to the canvas early in the fight in the 1st round, but it was more of a cupping shot behind the head, plus his feet tripped over Collazo's feet, but the referee, Tom Taylor, ruled it a knockdown. But Vayson came back in the 2nd round and made the fight an even competition by attacking and hurting Collazo, not to a degree where Collazo hit the canvas, but he got his attention and let him know that he was there to compete, which is why it raises a serious question of why his corner made the move that they made as the fight resumed. I often tell people and suggest that you watch boxing because there are always teachable and learnable moments in our beloved sport. And we saw some things this evening. I don't like when the officials are forced to be a part of the action, whether it's voluntarily or they precariously find themselves inserted in the action. So this is what we found this evening. Even in the co-main event where we saw Gabriella Fundora defending her undisputed titles against Alexis Kubicki. It was the type of fight that Kubicki fought hard and valiantly. Coming out of Canada, a lot of people were not aware of her, but this is one of those fights where Gabriella, like her brother Sebastian, being of the extremities of height at 5'9" and reach, and the southpaw, where she found herself a tough opponent in Kubicki. It was a very good performance by Gabriella. They are entertaining the thought of having her move down. She weighed in for this particular match at 110 pounds. And Sweet Poison, as she's known, southpaw, 5'9", out of Coachella, California, where the fight was hosted, definitely in her backyard. They're entertaining the notion of her moving down. I don't think she should move down. When you want to talk about weight bullies, that's definitely what that would be. And even the color analyst spoke of, if she moved up, along with Oscar De La Hoya, the people that she'll face as she moves up are a little bit stronger, more solid on their feet, and punch a little harder. So why not challenge yourself and move up instead of considering moving down, so you can put fighters that are at the weight class beneath at a tremendous more disadvantage due to your size, reach, height, and strength overall. So, such we have in boxing. She is the best at her weight division right now, which is flyweight. But I do believe at 23, she can move up and challenge herself. There's a lot of considerations to take in. And as it stands right now, the women in the flyweight division are still at a tremendous disadvantage. So that's what we're witnessing. And we need to see a change out of this. We really do. I don't like it. And she needs to do something. So, welcome everybody. Please smash the like button as you come into the building. We see who we got in the building and get into this roll call. We had Jimmy Bernard out there very early saying, "What's good, Sensei?" Salute to the chat. Smash that like button. Yes, sir. Eric Jordan is in the building saying, "Stormybman, salute, Sensei. What's happening with you?" DLP, Doing Life Productions, is out there saying, "Sensei, hope you're having a great weekend." It started off pretty good, man. We got some good boxing that took place. There's not a lot of people talking about this fight card, and we even had on OTX on Dazn this evening too, where Tierra Brown fought and defended her title successfully. Again, you got these people out here that really claim they love the sport. Now, though these were both women, tiny weights at flyweight, and men at minimum weight, these were competitive matches. These were fights that gave us a little bit of action of what we required. There was a lot of leather landing, and we got a chance to see some conviction from the fighters themselves. That's all we ask for at the end of the day when we watch boxing. Universal Truth is out there saying, salute, Sensei. What's happening with you, bro? Yes, sir. So, you know, I don't know, man. It's a tough thing when you can't get people to support in the proper way. It's difficult, but I do my part. You know, I do my part. And the battle between Oscar and Jason, it was back and forth. I had seen in the third round where Oscar hit Jason with a body punch. Oscar, being a southpaw, threw this sort of a hook 45 to Jason's right rib cage and stunned him. It looked like he buckled his knees and everything and gave an advantage to Oscar. And they were rumbling, but you could see that that punch to the body visibly shook Jason, and he made it through the round. But in the next round, he came out like a firecracker and was all over Oscar and was going at him with serious punch combinations and these bolo uppercut-like shots to Collazo's body, which had him kind of doubling over and reaching out to tie up and everything. See, and when these guys are small like these fighters are, they have power, speed, and high energy that larger men don't have. So the fight was being contested at a faster pace than you may ordinarily be accustomed to witnessing. And overall, it was really, really interesting. That ebb and flow that I like to talk about from time to time. And this was, again, being competed for the unified title at minimum weight. Now they're calling, these guys were barely 104, 105 pounds, right? So minimum weight, very small dudes. The WBO, WBA, and Ring Magazine belts for unification were on the line. It was really tight before the stoppage. As I'm watching this fight, I'm saying to myself, I'm like, one of these guys is not going to make it to the end of the fight. But you couldn't readily tell because there was the play and interaction between the two where one was having success. Now, what I was able to notice, technically wise, Collazo was not able to keep his southpaw lead right foot outside of Jason's left lead foot. It was on the inside. And Jason, being the orthodox fighter, his coaches didn't take advantage of that. Maybe they didn't realize, maybe they aren't as adept. But that was the time, especially when you had Collazo running into those bolo hooks and uppercuts, to take advantage with foot positioning. And then there was a terrible moment where Jason would retreat back to the ropes, not because he was hurt or whatever, but it was the way that the fight was going. And of course, Collazo wanted to keep him near the ropes because that was to his advantage. And Collazo is a physical guy. He likes to push and press and shove. That referee Tom Taylor had to tell him, a couple times, hey, stop pushing, you know. So to be such a little man, he's very physical. And Jason wasn't dealing with that very well. He was the taller of the two at 5'4", which is not tall at all, right? And Collazo is 5'2". So he's down there with the likes of Pitbull Cruz as far as his height. He's just a little man out of Puerto Rico, but he can box and punch. So he's kind of considered a boxer puncher, not so much 100% a boxer, but he's very physical in his actions in the ring. He's going to have to get that under control because we've seen fighters like Patty Donovan get DQ'd for being too physical and being overzealous with being able to manhandle someone in there. So I'm hoping that Oscar doesn't get too beside himself and puts himself in that type of jeopardy. DLP says, all was good, but I didn't like the corner's decision in the main event. Screwed up my parlays. Listen, again, in my opening thoughts, I don't know what that was about, because Jason was fighting, man. He was beginning to have some damage under his left eye, but that's part of the game. But them pulling the cork on the fight in that 7th round, I don't know. And see, those are the type of things when a corner does something like that, it could interfere with his future, because people will say, well, we don't know that this man's corner will be upright and allow him to fight if it's in a good fight where there's things going back and forth. So here we go. He's going to be complaining that he can't get fights. And I'm going to tell you something. This was a De La Hoya Cotto co-promotion. They're going to remember that if Vayson comes out to face someone else. That boxing is really a brotherhood. They're not going to forget that by that corner. Even the announcers, though I don't necessarily agree with what they determined, but they were saying that Vayson should probably fire his cornermen, because he had about 4 people over there with sweatsuits on, you know, showing the uniform of his attire for the fight. But whomever made that decision, and I think it was the older gentleman who had short gray hair, who was in there taking his hand wraps off and his gloves off. That decision was really a stupid decision. He should have waited until Jason either took a knee or got knocked down or something of that sort. But the action was kind of similar to what was happening earlier in the rounds. So it wasn't like he was taking a pummeling. It wasn't like he was brutalizing and the ref was just letting him take a beating or something. It wasn't anything of that sort. So I don't know what they were thinking when they did that. I have no idea, no clue. But it was a horrible decision to make a move like that. Horrible. So now, as far as Kubicki and her performance, the referee stepped in and stopped her fight in the 7th round. But she wanted to fight, and she had been taking a few shots from Gabriella, but it was nothing that jeopardized her to the fact that she didn't want to remain combative, because she was in the fight. Though I had Gabriella winning all the rounds at the time of the stoppage, the Canadian fighter, who's 22, a year younger than Gabriella, she wanted to fight. She had a little bit of an abrasion under her right eye, which was from some of the shots she was taking. But I liked the fact that she was showing a fighter spirit, and she basically was living up to her name, the Iron Woman, you know, the Iron Lady. So we often ask the fighters to show us something, and this lady was showing something in there against Gabriella. We didn't have full report on her dimensions as far as her height or reach, but knowing that Gabriella was 5'9", she looked to be at least 5'4" or 5'5". Gabriella was considerably taller than her. And being an orthodox fighter, if they were closer in height, I could see Kubicki having more success because she was in the mix of the fight. She just was being outboxed. Chilltown Majors, what's happening with you, brother? Another thing, Kubicki's corner, she looked like she was strong, Kubicki. They could have done themselves a service by telling her to don't swing at Gabriella's head. Keep your shots beneath her shoulders. Hit her in the chest, hit her in the solar plexus, hit her in the pit of the stomach. Use an up jab where she doesn't see the jab coming straight, it's coming from underneath. And when you throw your straight right hand, throw it straight to her solar plexus, because enough of those shots landing like that, if they do land, they will bring her chin, even though she's a taller fighter, they'll bring her chin forward. You hit her in the body and she comes forward, then you'll be able to double her shot up and come up top with a hook or another right hand or so. You see, there's so many things that when I'm watching these fights and I can see what the coaches and trainers are not telling their charges, that it makes me make the determination that I do oftentimes when I say that they're not totally giving their fighters all of the instructions and directions that can have them set up for success. I see that a lot. And it's one of the reasons why I like to just kind of watch the fights and see what's going on, you know. Take a lot of pride in doing stuff like that. So, you know, it is what it is. So there were other cards on the other fights rather on the card, and they were entertaining. This kid, the welterweight from Kazakhstan, Ruslan Abdullayev, was taking on Kevin Johnson, and I thought that Kevin Johnson was boxing Abdullayev. I thought he was boxing his shoes off, and when you have, that was scheduled for 8 rounds. When you have a fighter like Johnson, who was brought in as the opponent, his record is 12-7. But when you look at who he's fought, you know, he's fought guys where he's got the bad end of decisions, whether he's taking fights on short notice or whatever, but he's been very active. But Johnson can box. And I thought that he was outboxing Abdullayev, who came into the fight. This was his third fight. He has an extensive background as far as being an amateur. So he came in, and they're trying to feature this young man, but I saw some stuff where I'm like, you know what? They're trying to fast track him. And Johnson obviously doesn't have punching power, but he was in the fight the whole time. And they gave it to Abdullayev as a unanimous decision. But my scorecard had Johnson ahead as of the 7th round. And then I stopped scoring after that as I was talking to some brothers behind the scenes. So, you know, that's, I don't know, man. But this guy, Ruslan, I don't think he's going to make it to where they're trying to get him. I don't. He's just a banana peel away from revealing what can really happen. DLP says, just his third fight, not impressed. Yeah, I'm not impressed either. You know me, I'll say that, and I say it because I'm being very genuine when I speak about these fighters like that. I don't have a, you know, dog in the race, but I'm gonna tell you exactly, if it ain't what they trying to make it out to be, I'm gonna say it. You know? Yeah. So that's what it was, as far as I'm concerned. Very lackluster the young man is. Yeah. I got the replay on the screen now, and they're just showing some stuff with these fighters. You know, when you watch boxing like I do, you begin to not even look at the fact of who's winning, who's not. You begin to look at the tactics. You begin to look at where somebody might be mentally checked out, where you might see someone's conditioning failing them, things like that. And that's how I began to assess and make things whole, by giving complete breakdowns of what I've witnessed. You know, it's not just about win and loss. My allergies are acting up. My nose is starting to itch and run. I think the weather is about to change up. That's what happens to me when the weather starts acting up. I got some stuff to take that should keep me right, you know? So, yeah. How many of y'all saw my Friday night chop session last night? Yeah, talked about some things that were very interesting since the fallout of Canelo and Crawford. Mm-hmm. Excuse me for sneezing. I thought I had muted my mic. That sneeze come right out of. Told you my nose is itching. Forgive me 1 second, fam. Sorry about that. Trying to take care of these sinus issues. Yeah, man, they want Canelo's boogeyman to be passed on to Bud Crawford now. But they never said nothing when Canelo was lined up to fight him. They never forced that. These people killed me with their foolishness. It's just like when they wanted Wilder to fight Zhilei Zhang instead of AJ. Or other fighters like Dillian White, they wanted him to fight Wilder instead of AJ. You know, it's like always trying to, like the boss in the Kung Fu films, throwing those guys out in front of him to face the hero, you know. You, go get him. Remember Han and Enter the Dragon at the end of the movie? Wang Wang, Chong-Chi, hold on, get him! You know, and Bruce Lee and John Saxon beating up all them guys. And he's, Yu Ching, on Chai, go get him! You know, it's like pushing all these dudes out in front of the hero, you know? They want Bud to fight everybody. Huh? Not the fact that they want to give him any credit for anyone he's beaten thus far. They want, well, fight this one. You got to fight him. I'm like, man, you know what foolishness I saw today? The WBC has made Canelo the #1 contender. What the hell? Did you hear what I just said? He just lost the belts last weekend. And they done made him the #1 contender. You cannot make this shit up. Canelo is like a roach. You know how you can spray a roach and the motherfucker fake like he dead? You look up and he crawling across the floor. You go to step on him with your house shoe. He's still moving. I'm like, he won't die. Superman gonna make sure that he stay right up there for another title shot. But David Benavidez never got his title shot against Canelo. Now they talking about he need to fight Bud. But wait, David Benavidez moved up to 175. He's preparing to fight Anthony Yard at 175. He's been at 175 for the whole year, meaning like he done adjusted to that weight and everything. They didn't even say Bud should fight Beeble, who is the undisputed champ at 175. Undisputed against undisputed. And Beeble is nowhere near as big as Benavidez. But family, answer me this. How in the hell is Canelo the #1 contender a week later after losing the belts? Do you see why Turkey don't want to deal with those sanctioning bodies at all? What kind of corrupt bullshit is that? Christian and Billy, who fought Lester Martinez on the undercard of the fights last week, is the WBC interim champion, and he is the one that deserves a title shot for the WBC sanctioning body. But Bud don't have to fight somebody right now. He just won the belts last week. But how does Canelo, you know how you can be in line for some goods and you get yours and you go out of line? You can't get yours and go and get right back in line, like right there. What the fuck? There you go, Universal. That's hey man. But you see the foolishness. I don't know, man. It just makes you like really, you hate the sport for those people. And just think if Turkey wasn't here. If Turkey wasn't here, maybe Bud doesn't get the decision. And maybe some of the fights we've enjoyed, they don't happen either. Just straight foolishness, bro. I mean, it's enough to make you just like, And Canelo, he told everybody who would listen, we have to accept it. I got my ass whooped. Huh? Straight foolishness, man.
Well, it don't matter to me. It's all gonna be the same.
I love that. That's my new favorite soundbite now. When you first hear it, Buzz say, it don't matter to me, because they was asking him which gloves did he prefer. He said, it don't matter to me. It's going to all be the same anyway. Pew! I just think about sometimes how they make moves in boxing. It's like, what did it's like the WBC. Now think about it like this. I'm not even, this is not Canelo's fault, okay? This is the damn Suleiman and the people on that board over there making these stupid ass decisions. What about the other fighters that's in their organization? Ranked. Christian and Billy. Let me look. I'm gonna pull up BoxRec and see. It's just freaking ridiculous. Check this out, you guys. The champion is Crawford. They putting Canelo in at #1, the WBC. But these are the people lined up behind Canelo. Not necessarily in the WBC, but in the top 10. You got Hamza Shiraz, Osley Iglesias, Jamal Charlo, Christian and Billy, Jaime Munguia, Diego Pacheco, Kevin Lele Sajo, Callum Simpson, Pavel Siligan, Lester Martinez. Come on, man. A couple of those guys, Kevin Lele Sajo, don't know who that is. Pavel Siligan is, I don't know who that is. But how does Shiraz leapfrog ahead of all the other guys like Mbili and Charlo and Munguia and Pacheco, when he just moved up from middleweight. Hell, Lester Martinez should be ahead of Shiraz. Yeah, Jonathan Simon, you're absolutely right about that, bro. You're absolutely right about that. So he's got the WBC belt at 175, the interim at least, because Bivol never lost in the ring. And they never said nothing about him coming down to fight Canelo, did they? But Bud beats Canelo, and here they are. Hey, Benavidez, come on, we got a fight for you here. It's like Benavidez got a fight against Anthony Yarde, and that ain't a guaranteed win for him. It's not. You know what, Jonathan? He didn't vacate the belt. They took it from him. They didn't want him to have that belt to begin with. The only reason he got it is because Turkey made the fight between him and Beterbiev something that the WBC had refused to do. I don't know why people fuck with the WBC. They are the most corrupt, man, and Suleiman is just a, my goodness, get him all the way the fuck up out of boxing. Seriously. It's like a fucking parasite. Yeah, there's nothing good about him at all. Nothing. No, he's taking it to another level, Jonathan. His dad wasn't the most ethical guy, but he's taking it to a whole new level, bro. A whole new level. What a POS. Yeah, James Tony had his fair share of the run-ins with them folks. Definitely did. I tell you, bro. This Mark he lose his belt, and a week later he ranked number one. What the fuck? I mean, look at how stupid that fucking sounds. Jonathan, give me a second. I'm gonna read your comment there. Downloading some posters for the upcoming fights because I'll be doing some breakdowns on these fights. Sorry about that. I was just putting them here. He says, Jonathan says, OG, like you said the other day, if you don't educate yourself and use common sense, this sport is not hard to figure out. People complain. Boxing, we came up with flip. Yeah, yeah. It's, listen, man, it's a lot of things that happen in the sport, and we have to be, again, like me, I'm doing this post-fight show tonight talking about these two bouts, right? But nobody else is talking about it. I checked around to see who's calling fights, who's, nobody that's a part of our community. So it's very unfortunate, you know. But I'm as consistent as the rain. This is what I do. And I'm not gonna hold you all night. It's midnight now. Gotta wait till the midnight out, as the song say. Get on up out of here. But yeah, man. We have to remain true to ourselves about the sport of boxing. You can count on me to do what I do, but that's pretty much it. Can't count on everybody else. It is what it is. So yeah, I think I'll wrap things up right here, you guys. I appreciate everybody that came out to check me out for this post fight, but I'm gonna release you guys on into the night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm uncertain if I'll have the call in the morning because I'm feeling like I might need a break, but I very well could. It's kind of up in the air 50-50. So with that being said, I'm going to get on out of here. Appreciate you guys stopping through. I want to say, shout out to the mighty LDBC. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Catch you guys on the next one. Yeah.